Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Let's take a moment to imagine something powerful. What if every fear, every doubt, and every obstacle you face wasn't just something you had to overcome, but something meant to lead you to your true purpose? What if the very aspects of yourself you've tried to avoid, suppress, or reject were actually the keys to understanding who you really are and what you're truly capable of? Today, we're going to explore Carl Jung's concept of the shadow, a psychological idea that, when understood, can be life-changing. This isn't just about theory. It's about discovering real transformative truths that can guide you on a path toward deeper self-awareness, growth, and freedom. So let's take this journey together and see how embracing your shadow could unlock your potential and reveal your true purpose. Carl Jung, a brilliant Swiss psychologist, introduced the idea of the shadow to explain the hidden and often unconscious aspects of our personality, the parts of us we may find uncomfortable, even shameful, and often try to repress. This includes our fears, our insecurities, our flaws, and sometimes even the traits we don't want to acknowledge. But here's the thing. These very parts of ourselves that we push aside hold incredible potential. Think about it. How many times have you avoided something because it was uncomfortable? How often do you push away feelings or parts of yourself that you think are wrong or unworthy? But what if those parts, those very things you're avoiding, are the key to unlocking the next level of your growth? Jung believed that everything we reject in ourselves is reflected in the shadow. It's easy to look at someone else and criticize them for something we see in ourselves but don't like to admit. This is a powerful realization because it means that when you feel triggered by someone or something, it could be your shadow at play, trying to reveal something about your own hidden self. As Jung wisely said, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. Think about this for a moment. When someone irritates you, it's often because their behavior is mirroring something you haven't fully accepted in yourself. The shadow is not just darkness or negativity. In fact, it's full of energy that you might have buried because it's uncomfortable to face. These hidden parts of us are often the very things that carry our untapped power, our greatest potential, and our true calling. Think about yourself for a moment. Are there qualities you've been hiding? Fears you've been avoiding? Desires you've been told are wrong or unrealistic? What if all of these things weren't mistakes or defects, but rather messages, telling you something about who you are meant to be and what you're truly capable of? Jung believed that true self-discovery comes from acknowledging our shadow, not running from it. He called this process individuation, which is the journey of becoming whole, of integrating both the light and the dark aspects of ourselves. This isn't an easy process. It requires courage, vulnerability, and a willingness to be honest with ourselves. But the rewards? The rewards are immeasurable. When you begin to accept and embrace your shadow, you begin to tap into the full spectrum of your potential. You start to live more authentically, with confidence and clarity. Now, let's think about some of the greatest heroes in myths and stories. Hercules faced powerful demons, and not just external ones, but his own rage and internal struggles. Luke Skywalker in Star Wars had to confront the darkness within him to become a true Jedi. These are not just fictional stories. They reflect the very real journey each of us takes in life. Every hero must face their own darkness in order to become whole and step into their true power. And the same is true for you. So ask yourself, are you ready to face your own darkness? Are you ready to ask, what are these parts of me trying to teach me? Jung didn't view the shadow as an enemy. He saw it as a guide. It communicates with us in subtle ways, through dreams, through emotions, through the way we react in certain situations, and through the people and relationships we attract. Have you ever experienced a recurring dream or felt inexplicably drawn to a person or situation? These could be signs that your shadow is trying to get your attention. The first step in working with your shadow is awareness. Start paying attention to the times when you feel strong emotions, whether they're positive or negative. These emotions are often your shadow trying to reveal something to you. When you start to notice these patterns, your next task is to accept them without judgment. This doesn't mean you have to act on every impulse or desire, but it does mean allowing yourself to fully acknowledge and understand these feelings as part of who you are. Now, imagine a life where you no longer feared your weaknesses. Instead, what if you could turn them into strengths? What if you could embrace every part of yourself without shame or guilt, and start living in a way that feels true to who you are? The freedom that comes with accepting your full self is profound. Over the coming lessons, we'll look at practical ways to recognize and integrate your shadow. We'll explore how to transform darkness into light and how to uncover your deeper purpose in life. But the most profound revelation is still ahead of you. Stick with us, and by the end of this journey, you'll know exactly how to comprehend and utilize your shadow to guide your destiny. This is not just about psychological theory. It's about using this deep understanding of yourself to create the life you've always dreamed of. So, let's keep going. The more you explore your inner world, the more you'll discover about your true potential. The shadow shows up in all sorts of ways. Sometimes it manifests in our behaviors, like when we have an emotional outburst and wonder, why did I react that way? Or when we find ourselves suddenly overwhelmed by jealousy, fear, or anger. But why does this happen? Why does the shadow seem to control us in these moments? Jung believed it's because the shadow is unconscious. When we suppress parts of ourselves, we give them more power. It's like trying to hold a beach ball underwater. The harder you push, the stronger it will push back. The more you try to deny your shadow, the more force it uses to resurface. What if you could finally uncover and understand that hidden part of yourself? How much more control would you have over your life if you could see where your fears, desires, and weaknesses are coming from? And how much freer would you feel if you could embrace them instead of being controlled by them? One of the most powerful aspects of shadow work is something called projection. Jung believed that when we discern aspects of ourselves, we project them onto others. This means that when we feel insecure about something, we might criticize others for exhibiting those same traits. For example, if you're struggling with a lack of self-confidence, you might be irritated by people who seem too sure of themselves. This isn't just a coincidence. It's your shadow reflecting back at you. As Jung said, knowing your own darkness is the best method for dealing with the darkness of other people. So, take a moment. Think about someone in your life who triggers a strong emotional response in you. It could be a coworker, a family member, or a friend. Ask yourself, what does this reaction reveal about me? What part of my shadow am I projecting onto this person? This is not about blaming yourself. It's about understanding yourself better. Each time you notice a projection, you have an opportunity to reclaim that part of yourself and bring it into the light. Now, let's talk about how your shadow is tied to your life's purpose. Often, the very things we hide from the world are the things that hold our deepest potential. Maybe you've been hiding your creativity because you're afraid it won't be accepted. But what if, by embracing that creativity, you could unlock your true calling? Jung believed that our purpose is not something we find on the outside. It's something we discover within. By embracing both your light and your shadow, you align with your true self. As Jung said, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. So, are you ready to take this journey with us? I believe that the potential within you is limitless. You have the power to embrace your full self, uncover your deepest purpose, and create the life you were meant to live. Let's dive in and explore the shadow together, because your true power is waiting, and it's time to bring it to the surface. Where do we start aligning? First, self-examination. Why do I dread myself most? Was I informed I'm unacceptable? What hobbies or goals have I abandoned as unrealistic or unworthy? Note and consider them. Giving your shadow a voice may reveal surprising results. Journaling enhances shadow work. Jung explored his unconscious mind via voluminous notebooks. His patients were urged to write down their dreams since they connect to the unconscious. Dreams typically depict the shadow as a person, animal, or event. Look for recurring themes or symbols and ask, what message might my unconscious be trying to convey? The revolutionary impact of shadow integration is next. Think of a painter who avoids gloomy hues. They paint nicely, but lack depth and contrast. When we accept our darkness, we become like an artist who utilizes light and dark to create a masterpiece. Integration does not imply following every dark inclination or letting the darkness rule. Instead, it means embracing these components of your humanity. Acceptance promotes self and other compassion. Everyone has a shadow, and this common experience bonds us deeply. The process of accepting your shadow is ongoing, never-ending procedure. It takes perseverance, guts, and self-improvement. Great prizes, however. You find inner serenity, purpose, and authenticity. A crucial realization: your mission isn't about you. Jung felt our individuality contributed to the collective unconscious, human experience. When you face your darkness and become your actual self, you change your life and inspire others. The following part covers how to incorporate your shadow into your everyday life. Let's talk about how embracing this hidden side may improve relationships, creativity, and a life that fits you. Most deep truth awaits. Stay tuned for the final revelation regarding your shadow and how it determines your fate. As we explore Jungian theory, let's apply shadow work to daily life. Though understanding your shadow is significant, genuine change requires integration. Here, you begin to weave your hidden parts into your existence, connecting awareness and action. First, practice extreme self-honesty, examining oneself without bias or justifications. It takes bravery to say, yes, I feel jealousy, or yes, I sometimes judge others unfairly. But self-honesty is about knowledge, not judgment. Consider it like cleaning a messy room. You can't arrange or utilize it unless you admit the mess. Also, you can't incorporate your shadow unless you acknowledge it. Starting with emotional triggers is a realistic method to practice. Next time you experience wrath, anxiety, or excessive adoration, ask yourself, why am I reacting this way? What does this situation reveal about me? Is there a part of myself I'm projecting onto this person or event? Consider if you're offended by someone who looks too confident because you're insecure or because their confidence reminds you of a tendency you've suppressed, your desire to be in the limelight. Self-reflection may be unpleasant. Remember that understanding yourself is the aim, not blaming or defending oneself. Triggers lead to self-awareness. After identifying your shadow talk, Jung frequently advised his patients to treat their shadow as a different creature. This odd method externalizes and understands these secret bits. Ask your shadow, why do you feel this way? What are you trying to protect me from? What do you need from me to feel acknowledged? Via writing, meditation, or visualization. Make your shadow feel seen and heard. Your shadow isn't your adversary. It's attempting to protect or guide you in its own imperfect manner. This approach often yields unexpected results. Your long-held dread may arise from childhood, or a feature you've repressed may be a power waiting to be released. How does this integration affect your relationships? What you do with others is shaped by your shadow. Conflict in relationships sometimes results from unresolved shadow issues. Have you ever fought over the same topic repeatedly? You may have seen trends in your relationships, such as attracting the same partner or confronting similar issues. Shadow dynamics may be shown by these patterns. Jung felt relationships reflected our unconscious. Someone triggers you because they exemplify a characteristic or behavior that matches your shadow. Understanding this dynamic may turn disagreement into progress. Ask yourself, what is this situation teaching me about myself? Instead of criticizing or resenting the other person. This change in viewpoint increases self-awareness, compassion, and understanding. Expand on this concept. How can accepting your shadow boost creativity and purpose? Jung believed the shadow holds both undesirable qualities and unrealized potential. You may utilize your shadow suppressing energy to create. A repressed fury may drive advocacy or societal change. Art or public speaking may be driven by a secret need for attention. After integrating your shadow, you may use the energy you spent suppressing it to pursue your genuine self. Consider the best artists, authors, and leaders. The art typically shows their intense relationship with their shadows. For instance, Frida Kahlo's paintings are full of real passion and honesty about grief and identity. MLK Jr. turned his indignation at injustice into a global movement. Jung thought creativity led to individuation. He felt that creative pursuits like painting, literature, and problem-solving connect us to our unconscious, especially the shadow. Take stock of your life. Do you have dangerous or vulnerable pursuits or initiatives you've put aside? Imagine if they were your genuine self yearning to emerge. The transformation will occur when you incorporate your shadow. Previously overpowering or embarrassing features and emotions become strengths and knowledge. Live more authentically, confidently, and purposefully. In this final section, we're about to uncover a profound truth about your shadow and explore how embracing it can transform not just your life, but the world around you. Stay with us as we reveal this ultimate insight that brings everything together, helping you tap into your deepest potential. As we near the end of our journey, let's take a moment to reflect on what we've learned. The shadow, those hidden, often feared parts of ourselves, holds great value. It's a treasure trove waiting to be discovered, offering us a deeper sense of authenticity, creativity, and purpose. But what does it really mean to fully accept your shadow? How could this integration reshape your inner world and the way you experience life? Carl Jung, the pioneer of shadow work, was adamant that rejecting any part of ourselves prevents us from becoming whole. True wholeness comes from embracing every aspect of who we are. Shadow work isn't about denying these darker parts, but about understanding, accepting, and learning to work with them for personal growth. Jung once said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." But how exactly can we make the darkness conscious? It begins with vulnerability, an incredibly powerful tool. When we confront our fears, doubts, and insecurities, we strip them of their power over us. Vulnerability means standing in your truth and saying, "This is who I am, and I am enough." It's an act of courage that brings immense strength. Take a moment to consider your relationships with others. How often do we wear masks, presenting only the parts of ourselves that we think others will accept? It's a natural defense mechanism, but it also limits our ability to truly connect. By embracing our shadow, we allow ourselves to show up as we are, authentic and unfiltered. This kind of honesty is magnetic. It builds trust, fosters deeper connections, and draws people toward you in ways you might never have imagined. And it's not just your personal relationships that will benefit. When you accept your shadow, you stop fighting against yourself. This inner peace radiates outward, influencing how you face challenges, pursue opportunities, and find your purpose. Instead of feeling fragmented or at war within yourself, you begin to experience life as a whole, integrated being. Now, let's think about the concept of purpose. Many people search for meaning outside of themselves, looking for something or someone to give their life direction. But Jung teaches us that purpose is not something external, it's something that lives within. By finding and embracing your true self, shadow included, you uncover your real mission in life. Your purpose isn't just about what you do, it's about who you are. Your unique combination of talents, passions, and struggles shapes the way you show up in the world, and your shadow plays a key role in that equation. Far from being a barrier, it's a guide that helps you fulfill your mission. Consider someone who has struggled with feelings of unworthiness. Perhaps they find their purpose in helping others realize their own value. Or someone who has experienced anger or frustration might channel those emotions into advocacy for justice. Those who have been wounded have the potential to become wise, using their experiences to guide others through their own struggles. Let's delve even deeper. Jung believed that integrating the shadow could not only change the individual, but also transform humanity. Why? Because when you confront your darkness, you become more compassionate, more understanding, and more empathetic. You begin to see that the challenges you face are not unique to you. They are part of the human experience. Imagine if more people accepted their shadows. What if they embraced their insecurities, healed from their fears, and grew from their wounds, instead of projecting them onto others? The world would shift. There would be more peace, more understanding, and a greater sense of collective awareness. The true power of shadow work isn't just in personal growth. It's in the potential to awaken a more connected, compassionate, and mindful world. Now, I'd like to leave you with a challenge. Look within, not just at your proudest moments or accomplishments, but at the parts of yourself you've hidden away. Ask yourself, what is my shadow trying to teach me? How can I use these lessons to live more authentically? What small steps can I take today to begin integrating these hidden aspects of myself? Remember, this is a lifelong process. Every step brings you closer to the truest version of yourself, whole, purposeful, and deeply connected to your inner essence. As we conclude, I invite you to share your thoughts, reflections, and questions. What has shadow exploration taught you? What insights have resonated most with you? Your words might inspire someone else to begin their own journey. When you accept and embrace all that you are, you open the door to a new chapter. A chapter where you proudly live your purpose. Thank you for joining me on this journey. I hope that as you continue to explore your own depths, you discover newfound courage, wisdom, and peace. Thank you for reading.